Hey everybody, for Trail Talk this time, instead of getting right into leg 2, what I thought I'd do is call this getting to Springer, because I've had a lot of questions about some of that logistics of getting to Amicalola Falls, getting to Springer, if you want to go to, and how does some of all that work. Also, what I've got in front of me here is it's called a strip map. It's a little pocket profile. You can buy these where you, at the same time as you buy your AWOL guide. I used them in 2016 on my hike. I'm being a helicopter pilot, I like maps. Okay, and this thing folds into 3 sections, and I would use it for planning a lot more than anything. Just sometimes it kind of gives you some of the things you get that are a little bit different. You get some of your quick look at your water sources where you can get supplies here. There's a little grocery cart, for example. Here at Jared Gap, there's a way to get off here, and there's some more groceries down here, for example. So there's some information there for you. But in 2017, when I used Gut Hook, I had these with me, and I never looked at it. The first 2 strip maps, I never even took them out. So I actually threw the rest of them away. I didn't even keep them. I kept these since I hiked with them. Kind of a little sentimental. These are tell you where there's a parking area here with a P at this particular gap. Neil's Gap, for example, you're going to be those are good parking areas where you could probably, if you had to get off the trail, you could get off the trail. Okay. Let's see. Anyway, that's just kind of a little orientation to what this is. They notice this. No, they're not quite north. Okay, They run them so that you can get all the strip kind of in one go, but not necessarily. They're not all oriented the same. The next one you have, the north might be oriented this way, for example. So anyway, some helpful information tells you how far it is to a town if you've got to get off there. Dix Creek Gap, for example. Anyway, that's into Hiawassee. So this is one of the areas you get off to go to Hiawassee. You can also get off here and go into Hiawassee. Okay, so 2 ways to go in. And for my second leg, when I get ready to talk about that, my plan was to go to Dix Creek Gap and go to Hiawassee to resupply. I ended up hiking with somebody who needed to go in sooner, so we went in at Unicoi Gap and went and stayed at the top of Georgia Hostel, and then went back, hiked in instead of staying at the top of Georgia. Then we went into Hiawassee to the Budget Inn. And that's because we wanted to get some better Wi-Fi, and there's a little outfitter right there with the Budget Inn. Anyway, so this is just an overview. You can imagine when you get up to here how depressing it is to actually start hiking south on the Appalachian Trail, okay, before you walk north to Albert Mountain to the 100-mile mark here. So this is a big deal. Here's your crossing at 75. Was it 35% of the people have dropped out by then? Oops, put it back on the camera here. And then this little loop here, that's a pretty depressing loop to make that loop when you're trying to hike the main and you're turning and you're going southbound for a while. It kind of messes with you too because the sun's on the wrong side. Anyway, on the back side of this, they have a profile view, okay, with the shelters on them. All right. And different mile markers and distances and things like that. Once again, I didn't really use it as I was hiking as much as sitting in the tent, kind of looking at the next day and what was going to be happening. All right, so I just want to introduce that to you for a quick second. Okay, well, how do we use the AWOL guide, and how do we get to Springer? Okay, just quickly here. Here's there's the front page of your AWOL guide. Here's all the different symbology and what all of it means. Okay, most of it is pretty self-explanatory. I always thought that, well, that means that place is really expensive. No, that's an ATM. Okay. Typically, your bunks are always your hostels. Okay. All right. Breakfast, lunch, dinner down here. Some room prices for singles, doubles, and things like that. There's a treasure hunt you can do if you want to. There's your symbols all over the place, and as you find, if you come across the symbols in the AWOL guide and then find them in real life, and you write them down, and then I guess you can send in and get a prize. Okay. All right. A little bit about the book, and kind of tells you how it's organized, and the data spreads and service spreads and things like that. Just a little heads up. Nobody's obligated to maintain the prices that they put in here, because they put the prices in the year before when they get ready to do the book. So don't be surprised if prices have changed a little bit. Here's your breakdown of what all the shelter stuff means. Your good water source. You've got a privy. You got bare cables. That's a big shelter if it can hold 12 people. And here's your distance. That's the distance back to the previous shelter. There's your distance to the next shelter. Now this is important. You've got your northbound, which is obviously you're heading north, you're heading south, but then your east and west and your left and rights are based upon the direction you're headed. So if I'm a northbound hiker and it says that the town is 5 miles to the east, okay, that's going to be trail east. That part of the trail you get off may have made this turn and you're actually heading east. So east was actually going to be a cardinal turn to the right, okay, or south. So so it's very important. Don't get wrapped up with cardinal headings. Get wrapped up in, I'm a northbounder, and so if the town is to the east, that's going to be a right turn off the trail. Compass heading may be south. It may be north if you're making a little turn to the west and now you get off. So be very, very careful, because and we'll show you here where it shows you how many miles to the east or west of the trail, and that is trail east and trail west, and that's very important not to get mixed up with that. They give you a nice overview. Okay, here's Bangor. Here's kind of the big places. So people tell you, hey, make sure you get your cold weather gear back by, let's say, Hanover. Well, heck, where's Hanover? Oh, well, okay, there's Hanover. Oh, there's Albany. Okay, there's Massachusetts. So it kind of gives you a big picture. To people about Gorham. Where's Gorham? Okay, well, Gorham's as you get ready to go into Maine, for example. Okay, so this gives you kind of a big bird's eye view of the west coast of the United States. Okay, here's Springer. It doesn't quite look like this because you're kind of heading over and there's a bunch of turns, but generally speaking, you go this way and then you go up to the Smokies and Hot Springs, and there's Irwin and Damascus. I love this section of the trail through here, by the way. And then you get into Virginia, and then you got Dalesville. Lose a lot of people in Dalesville. You get off the trail, then Waynesboro, that starts the Shenandoah Range. Up into Front Royal, then Harper's Ferry is the unofficial halfway point. And then you continue north. So it kind of gives you an idea generally where stuff is at. Okay. All right. Now, we talked a little bit about mail drops. Okay, and this is how you do it. So you foreigners out there, if you're going to send stuff to a hostel, this is the kind of the format that you use. Okay, if you're going to send it to a post office box, this is the format you use. You're sending it to general delivery. Okay, do not use, and it tells you what to do. Use your name. Don't use your trawl name, because you're going to have to show an ID, and your trawl name's not going to be on your ID. Okay, so So here's the basic of the how-tos of doing all that, okay? You know, and you always should call somebody first before you send a box to them if they're not a post office, all right? And then you start having, and this is very common, wherever there's empty space, you'll find some things, okay? You know, here's a zero, here's a couple of companies that are just kind of thrown in here. Now, we'll come back to this in a minute. This is a very important map, okay? Okay, here's Atlanta. The Atlanta airport's down here. Here's the MARTA station. Here is the bus station in Gainesville, okay? There's Dahlonega, where the hiker hostel is at, and of course, and here's Amicalola Falls, and here's Springer Mountain. And then here's all these different outfitters. You'll never come across this many outfitters as close to the Appalachian Trail as you do in Atlanta. Okay, and so here's kind of the big overview. Okay, so if you're flying into Atlanta, you know, if you get yourself up to the MARTA station, there are shuttle drivers that'll come and get you. Okay, if you get yourself up to the bus station, there are shuttle drivers that will come and get you. Okay, there's actually people that will come up to Atlanta Airport and pick you up too. Probably have to pay a little bit for that. All right. Okay. Sorry for bumping things around a little bit. Okay, getting to Springer Mountain. There's actually a paragraph here that talks about it. Okay, that parking area. It's actually, I think I said the other day, is a mile and a half. It's actually a mile and a half north of Springer. You can get to that parking area on Forest Service Road, U.S. Forest Service Road 42. Okay, and you hike up and you hike back down again. Okay, once again, here it talks about getting to the, you know, if you fly in, you could take Amtrak's to Atlanta. You get up to the MARTA rail station. Okay, the bus service there in Gainesville. Here's a hiker hostel. Okay, he's here advertising a package deal. See page 11. So we'll check that out here in a minute. Here's Ron Brown. He's one of the shuttle drivers that everybody talks about. There's Sam Duke. Here's Henry Carter. Once again, this is 2016. There's probably more or less or different ones that are current. Okay, talks a little bit about the bear canisters, and so now you know where the information comes from. If you're past 1 March, you got to have a bear canister to camp up on top of Blood Mountain. Okay, here's all the bunch of outfitters. Okay, near the southern terminus. Okay, and a bunch of REIs down here. Now, voluntary registration. Yeah, it's voluntary to register. What I found was very, very disheartening on the part of some of the hikers not understanding this. Some of the through hikers, when I was at Harper's Ferry, kind of signing in and getting my photo taken, they were walking in going, "Okay, I'm here to register my through hike," and they're like, in Harper's Ferry, they're like, "We don't do that here. You have to do that before you start your hike. Once you start your hike, it's too late." And they were just brokenhearted because they really thought they could just walk in and register their 1 January start, and the ATC's like, "No, sorry, you do that by mail, and we don't do that here, and we'll take your picture and put you in as a section hiker," So there's some very frustrated people. Okay, little information about water sources there. Then you have another. Now they give you another map of Amicalola State Park. There's a lot of questions about that. There's actually a lodge there that you can stay at, and there's actually an inn that you can stay at if you want to. Let's see. So there's some information about the visitor center. There's always a trail kickoff. There's Dahlonega. So there's just kind of an overview of the park itself. Okay. All right. Now we did this the other day. We showed this on our kind of that leg one, if you will, the whole, hiking up to Springer. Okay, we've already gone through that. I'll bypass through that. Okay, then once it's just kind of thrown in here, there's a nice overview map. And this is kind of nice, especially as you're starting out. For those who like to kind of plan on the fly, you've got a kind of a big nice overview map where you start out here at Springer, and here's your Three Forks, your Hawk Mountain Shelter, Horse Gap, Cooper Gap. All of these, you can see there's places if you needed to, you could bail off here, try and get into town. You could bail off here and try and get down and hitchhike into town. Here, here's Gooch Gap, for example. Woody Gap is very popular. There's like, bunches of parking lots here. So, you get to the Woody Gap and the weather is really bad. It could happen. You don't get to Neal's Gap. You could bail off. There's a hostel here. There's a resort. Okay, here's the hiker hostel down here. That'll actually near Dahlonega, that will take you up to Springer. Okay. All right. And I think we talked about the temperature lapse, right? Here's the, okay, temperatures will decrease about 3.5 degrees for every 1,000 feet. I talked about it's 1 degree centigrade for every 1,000. So you need to make some adjustments if you're using a civilian weather source. The atweather.org will automatically do those called lapse rate adjustments for you. Okay, let's see here. I was looking for page 11. Okay, this is page 11, because why? Didn't it say, go to page 11 to look for a deal? Okay, so let's see, here's mountain crossings, here's your hiker hostel, and what it'll do is it'll give you, here's your mileage. Okay, so if you go back on your en route to around 20.8, you'll probably see that it talks about Woody Gap, and it'll say go to page 11. Okay, page 11, right there. Okay, and they have, this is where you learn about what they offer. They happen to be open year-round. Okay, it's $19 per person for a bunk, $45 if you want your own room, for up to two people. Here's so you get a private cabin for two. Includes breakfast, linens, towels, showers, computer, internet, wireless, laundry is $3 additional. They run a special for $85 to pick you up from the Atlanta North Springs MARTA station or the Gainesville, okay, and give you an overnight bunk and breakfast and a shuttle to either Amicalola or Springer. So if you pay them a little bit extra, they may take you down to Amicalola for the sign in and then take you up to Springer. Okay, just ask. If you ask really nicely, it's amazing. It's amazing what can happen on the trail. Okay, here's at Sushitz. Remember, there was a symbol for a hostel. Okay, well there it is, and this is what it's called, and there's the phone number. And they do take MasterCard and Visa. Sometimes that's important to know, or sometimes they'll say cash only. Okay, and a mailing address. So if you wanted to send a package there, you can. Okay, this means there's laundry available. Notice there's no laundry. Well, there's laundry available there. Okay, down here, no laundry available, but they must have a little camp store. Okay, and here's another shuttle driver. Okay, and he covers the trailheads in northern Georgia. Here's another guy. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the name of a hospital. Okay, and here's Mountain Crossings. They're at Neal's Gap. Okay, that's the outfitter there. Okay, so they have an outfitter, hostel. They do the AT stamp and the passport. They got some groceries listed there. They have shower, laundry, and they allow mail service. Okay, and then here's their address for that. They do ask if you shower those stay, which is possible. They want to charge you $5. $5 for laundry. Okay, is in addition to the charge they charge you $18. Okay, now here's the Blood Cabins where I stayed. They're $72. They're normally about $100 a night, but the hiker rate is $72. And if you put 4 people in there, that's pretty cheap. Okay. And they not only is laundry free, but they'll actually do your laundry for you. You just give it to them and they'll take care of it. Here's a state park. So here's all the stuff that's happening. Here's some information for Dahlonega. All right. And then we are ready for leg 2. All right. So anyway, I wanted to give you kind of an overview of the AWOL guide, what information is there, and help relieve some people's anxieties about it being kind of scary to be able to actually, get to the AT and start your hike, and with a few phone calls and some really nice people in Georgia. If you're from outside the United States and even other parts of the United States, you cannot go wrong. The people in the southeast are some of the nicest people, and all you got to do is just you just ask, and they'll do anything they can to help you out. And there's plenty of phone numbers and opportunities to get the assistance you're looking for. All right. So this is the end of this particular segment, and we get ready to do leg 2 to Hiawassee.